Hey everybody, how are you? Good morning. It is Wednesday. I think it's September 13th. Yep, Wednesday, September 13th. Hope everyone is having a wonderful hump day. Once again, this is Freddie Ewan, two-time GM of the year, current Pantheon Cup champion, host of the TPFFKAL Show. A couple things I just wanted to go over to this morning in the TPFFKAL League. I just wanted to go over a couple of the transactions that had transpired and just give you a little update on the transactions that are first week on the free agent pool, what exactly happened, and how everything went. Let's see if I can get this up somewhere. Transactions. Yeah. So, yeah, let me go over the transactions a little bit. Very interesting. Very interesting transactions all took place this morning. A couple big injuries, especially to the Donkey Dicks. Lost Dobbins for the year. Also have a banged up Deontay Johnson. They got some depth, which is nice, but the Donkey Dicks were able to add. They dropped J.K. Dobbins altogether. Couldn't put him on the IR, and maybe kept him for next year, but it's kind of hard to keep paying up for J.K. Dobbins. They were able to add Tyler Boyd, which is fine wide receiver. Let me see if they added anyone else. That's it. So it looks like to me that they really just dropped Dobbins, and picked up Tyler Boyd. They got some good running backs, and they still have some good running backs. Still a solid team. It's just the Duckies took some early hits. Virginia Seadogs have been very active on the waiver wire. Virginia Seadogs added Isaiah Likely, tight end, dropped Tyler Boyd, added KJ Osborne, dropped the Seattle defense, added Jaden Reed. Then it looks like they dropped Isaiah Likely. They dropped Jaden Reed. And they made some successful bids. They picked up Joshua Kelly, who is the backup handcuff for Eckler. A good play by them. They also picked up Kyron Williams, dropped Geno Smith, $42 for each player. So Seadogs had pretty much used most of their free agency cap in the first week on two players. I can see I can see the importance for both of them. Eckler, of course, if Eckler goes down, Joshua Kelly played really good in week one. I think he's going to be a part of that offense. And also as Cam Akers, Kyron Williams carried the ball more. It was a 66-33 Williams share, and Williams had a really good game. So I can see him just trying to play out where exactly that LA backfield is going between Williams and Akers. $84 might hurt him somewhere down the line, as he's not going to be able to bid on some of the free agents that are going to be big after some big week one injuries, but he does have his handcuffs, so it kind of goes back and forth. TOD really in need of a running back. I did bid on both. I did bid on Williams. I think I bid a lot on Williams. I did not bid $42, which means I did not get him. Was able to bid on Justin Hill, $16. So really with Dobbins going down that hill, Edwards, we're going to see where that goes exactly. Wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore picks up another running back. Possibly a trade for Jonathan Taylor. Leonard Fournette is still out there. Kareem Hunt is still out there. I think those guys are going to be on rosters sooner than later. I did pick up, I don't think I dropped them though. I did pick up Leonard Fournette just in case. And I did just pick up Allen Robinson. I dropped Dante Foreman. I don't think Foreman's going to be too big of a Bears backfield. So really got rid of him. Chicken in the Cave picks up another quarterback, Mac Jones. Mac Jones had a good game against the Eagles. Why not? Samuel Mack drops McCall Hardman. They picked up Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's going to be interesting what goes on in the Kansas City backfield, because, everyone thought Hilaire's a first round pick, and he has not had that great of an NFL career. They got Pacheco really late. I think Pacheco was their 6th or 7th round pick. They also have McKinnon, who's a veteran guy who catches balls out of the backfield. I think they're going to keep running with that, but they are, I think this is Hilaire's last year in his contract, and I think they're going to give Hilaire another shot. So I think that's a good pick by semi-automatic. Indiana's FT drops Dawson Knox, picks up Cole Kmet for tight end, I think that's fine. I think Komet's going to get, some opportunities in Chicago. Dawson Knox is not. Dawson Knox is on his way out in Buffalo now that they got Dalton Kincaid, the rookie. I think Kincaid's going to do some great things. He is out. A couple defenses picked up. That is pretty much it. That is pretty much it as far as the waiver wire goes. We got a couple other small ones that I think I saw. Hold on one second. Yeah, from Justin to Kels drops Dalton Schultz. But that is it for the waiver wire. But some interesting things. You're seeing the Virginia Seadogs really spend a lot of money early. They're pumped up. They want to get things going. Also, just going to talk about a couple things in the second segment. As far as I really want to just keep this channel really just focused on the TPFFKAL and fantasy football. Fantasy football is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to, really, you're supposed to enjoy it as much as you enjoy the NFL. I'm a, diehard football fan. I'm a diehard NFL fan. Always have been a, NFL fan since I was a child. I remember wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey as far as long as I was 3-4 years old. I was in a Philadelphia Eagles jersey. Really got into fantasy football probably, 15, 16 years ago before there were even, Yahoo drafts. We did it all on the board and, had some guy doing Excel sheets for, who had the best team weekly. So it's really come along greatly. That being said, when you're in fantasy football leagues, I'm in 5 different fantasy football leagues. I'm the commissioner for 2 of them. People drop out all the time. People drop out of fantasy football leagues all the time, and there's for a number of different reasons. People drop out of fantasy football leagues because it's time consuming. They want to spend more time with their family. For some people, fantasy football just is not their thing. I know a lot of diehard NFL football fans who do not play fantasy football at all. They don't play fantasy football at all, but they can tell you everything about this player and that player and that player, but they just have no interest in playing fantasy football. My stepfather is one of them. The guy knows everything about every player. He can bust out stats like you wouldn't believe. Never played fantasy football before in his life. So, fantasy football is not for everybody. You see football fans that sometimes give it a shot. They don't really enjoy it, and they move on, and that's fine. That's really how it should be. If you don't want to play in a league, you should not be obligated to play in a league. Period. The way a couple things were done, I always think that if you play in a league 1 year and you're not going to play in the league the next year, that you should always give the commissioner a significant amount of time to make sure that he can get a suitable replacement, and even better, if you can find a suitable replacement for him, that would always be a good thing to do. I run one fantasy football league where we've had I've been running it for 13 years. There's only 2 original players from 13 years ago. But the last couple of years we had, the same 12 players. One guy couldn't play this year. Let me know about a week before, was able to pick up another GM to take over his team. It was a keeper league. No problem, no issues. I run a $500 league, which sometimes it's a little expensive. Had a couple guys who told me, they couldn't, either didn't want to pay the money to play, or, one guy found a replacement. Very easy to find a replacement. There's a lot of people that really play a lot of fantasy football. They want to be in a lot of different leagues. Very easy to find a replacement for fantasy football. So, it's just, just giving the GM, the commissioner, just ample time. And, just from a status standpoint, it's always, you have to walk a fine line sometimes when you're playing with friendships and you're dealing with money and gambling, because fantasy football is an extent of gambling. I'm a former professional gambler. I played professional poker for 5 years in Las Vegas. Poker was my only source of income. It was what paid the rent. It was what paid the food. It was what paid the bills. I had a lot of friends there. Most of my friends played. Most of my friends there were also fellow poker players. There were nights where we would be at the same table in the casinos, losing thousands of dollars to each other. And, sometimes people will borrow money from one another. And, there's a fine line that you need to walk. And, in fantasy football, we're the TPFFKAL, we're not playing for a whole lot of money. It's only a $200 league, but there is money involved. So when you see somebody that you know pops up on another team, or somebody who's doing something with anything along those lines, where a GM might be buddies with another GM, and might be training players to one guy and not train players so much with the other guy, it's a fine line that you have to walk. And there's a fine line, that sets a precedence when, someone doesn't want to play in the league, and then, and ends up, being a part of another team. I can just tell you that, in my leagues, my leagues are, we're not all as great friends as we are in the TPFFKAL. And if something would have happened like that in one of my leagues, there would be an uproar, and I would probably have to, the league would really might have to fold. There would be people asking for their money back, especially in the $500 league, because we're playing for serious money on that league. So, I think that's something you always have to keep in mind too, is that, when there's money involved, you really have to walk a fine line, amongst friendship, and it's like, I never let money, take the place of friendship or anything like that. But you do need to be very careful. And, that's coming from someone with a lot of experience in this. Like I said, I know a lot about gambling. I did it for a living. So it's like, I know a lot about gambling, and I know a lot of how it works. I'm not trying to pat my back or anything, because, I don't gamble anymore for a living. I've had a professional and real occupation for almost 15 years now. But it is still a fine line that you need to walk amongst friendships. And, that's really just all I have to say. Want to keep this show all about football. Want to keep the show all about fantasy football. We've got a lot of good things. We've had a lot of good feedback. We had a great show with Rich on Monday. We had a great show with J-Dubs on Friday. We're going to try to get both J-Dubs and Brian on the show together, as that's a big matchup this week with those two facing off. Gonna have a fantasy football mailbag, and hopefully we want to get some more GMs on the show. I'm gonna reach out to Devinder. I know he had expressed some interest. I know Bowser's really busy. I haven't had too much time to reach out to him either, but I want to get him on the show. And if you don't want to come on the show, that's fine. But it's I know it's a good way to it's a good way to have a chat and communicate. In every show where we've talked, every show where there's been a GM on has been a good, it's been a good discussion, and I think that everyone's enjoyed it, and we want to keep it that way. We definitely want to keep that way here. That's what Robin wants to do. Robin's interested in having a good time with fantasy football. So let's just keep it going. Yeah. Anyway, I hope everyone has a great day. I am going to try to get some guys. I got a little bit more time. I was traveling all day yesterday, but I got a little bit more time today. So I am going to try to see if we can get some guests on the show in the next couple of days, and it should be a lot of fun. Don't forget, tomorrow night, my Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Minnesota Vikings. It should be a fun game to watch. Let's hope the Eagles get a little bit of a better offense than they did, but I think the Birdies are going to be just fine. Everyone have a great day. Once again, this is Freddie Ewan, two-time GM of the Year, current Pantheon champion, host of the TPFFKAL Show. Everyone have a great afternoon. Thanks a lot, guys.